Good evening, Amy.
Hello, Doriandra.
Nice to see you again.
Thank you very much. Good to see you.
Yeah. Hi, Julie. Hi, Stephen.
Hello, Doriandra. Hello, Julie. Welcome, Emmy.
Thank you, Stephen.
Amy, you'll be seeing Julie and Stephen soon in the CERT training, I believe.
Oh,
Come mid-March.
So I'm not sure I'm gonna make it, partly because I'm on Unit 6 and we're awfully close, but also my aunt in Boise passed away yesterday.
Oh,
And I have a pretty good feeling that if they don't manage to pull the funeral service together this weekend, it's gonna be next weekend. So I think maybe I'll see Amy in the fall. And that'll give me a chance to finish my training without madly rushing and review it.
good idea.
And I don't see any point in attending the 2 preliminary trainings in person if I end up not being able to attend the final. And it might be full already too. I'm kind of late off the mark. Not full?
no, I have an announcement. Today was the deadline
Okay.
for signing up for the class, and we did not have enough people signed up.
Oh,
So the next in-person training will probably be mid-August.
okay.
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 Well, that gives me a little breathing room then, and I can focus on this family stuff without having that additional pressure of having a few more modules to complete. So
yeah.
That's also good news for my partner, Gibby. She is partway through the units, but is a long way away from getting to the final exam. I did the final exam today.
Oh,
Bravo.
nice.
83.3%.
All right.
Yay.
As always, I looked at the ones that I got wrong and quibbled with all of them and said, somebody needs to edit that class book that particular topic. It's ambiguous, or that was unfair. I mean, I'm always contesting everything. I've always been a bad loser. I mean, I don't accept anything unless you give me 100%, and I didn't get 100% on
Well,
that. So there's no training this month, is that correct?
Correct.
okay.
Okay. Mid-August. Okay, we'll wait for a date. So I don't need to find the link to sign up.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, you're welcome
to
to. You can go to the Eugene Springfield CERT link and register.
Okay.
Turn in your completion certificate of the online, and then go ahead and register, and you'll be in for the August or
Yeah.
September course.
Perfect.
I created an account for myself in the Merit app, but then I couldn't remember what password I had set my account up with. I've clicked the forgot password every day for the last week or so, and nobody ever sends me a link to reset my password. So I've not been able to log into CERT except by clicking a link in an email telling me that I can go into CERT from an email link, but I haven't been able to do it directly from the app. So if I could have a contact with the tech person, I'd love to have that, how to reset my password in Merit.
Well, when you get your completion certificate, right, that's the final exam you were talking about for the online. Is that
Okay.
right? So you should get a completion certificate. Is that right?
Not yet. Maybe it will come in the next couple of days.
Yeah, right. As soon as, I mean, there's no rush at this point. As soon as you
Okay.
get that completion certificate, send it to our outreach person, Tracy Bear. So yeah, her email is TR.
I can put it in the
Yeah,
I can put it in the
know what,
chat for
Tracy.
you.
Yeah, send him Tracy's
Yep.
email, and he can forward his completion certificate, and she'll tell you the next steps with the
Yeah.
link
There it is for
to
you.
get registered.
Doriandra, could you
There you
email
go.
that to us? That would be.
Yeah, I put it in the
helpful.
chat. Would you like it in email as well?
I would love it. Yeah, I'd love it by email and also the link to sign up for the in-person training in August.
She'll send it to you. Tracy
Okay.
will send it to you.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll connect you to Tracy, Stephen.
Great, thank you.
Yes.
Real quick, Stephen, I'm very satisfied and happy to find that you're having that issue because I also downloaded the Merit app. I cannot get into it directly. I can
Yeah.
backdoor into it when I complete a module and it sends
Yeah.
me the email telling me that I can accept my Merit, and then
Yeah.
I'm in the app. So
Exactly the same. Yeah.
I felt very inadequate being unable to do that. So I'm sadly, I'm satisfied and happy that you're having the same problem
Yeah.
because it makes me feel less inadequate.
I came from a tech background where people who worked for me were responsible for keeping the autoresponders to password reset requests working correctly. And so I'm a stickler for autoresponders to work correctly.
Yes.
Yeah, the other complaint was every time you have like 76 pages or steps to complete in a unit, and you've got a certain amount of time, and you've got to number 74,
I'm here.
and then it drops a 40-minute video on you just before you finish that unit. It happens several times, but I always tear my hair out. I'm such a frenzy when trying to be in a test situation.
Yeah, the online module is maddening, but it's so rewarding to get into the classrooms with other folks and go through the training.
Yeah,
Right.
great.
It's really life-changing, the skills you kind of didn't know you needed, but suddenly have. It's just fabulous.
Right. It's all
I'm
about
not
team
sure whether I
building.
have. I'm not sure whether I have the capability. When I got to the slide that had the simulation of spurting blood from an arterial wound, I felt faint having a vasovagus response, which I do, and I had to close my laptop and go and lie down for a bit. Then I would come back and try again. I was like drive a truck through deep sand with bald tires. So it took me about 4 or 5 tries to get through the spurting bleeding.
Oh,
And then it all started all over again when I got to what to do if somebody has a 6-inch nail stuck in their chest. And I had this.
That one was rough.
yeah.
I liked the medical module the best though so far.
Yeah, I had real trouble. I had to struggle, and it made me wonder whether I really was cert material, because I would have to be carried off in a faint from most emergency situations.
Well, hi Thea. I have a quick story to tell about this stuff. Back in 2010, I think, when I was still living in another state, I was when I first did the whole cert training, and I remember, just being younger then and not really, I don't know, I just thought, okay, this is so great and I'll never remember any of it. But then later that year, I was in London at this weird kind of music event in a squat, like an old building where there's just people like doing neat stuff, and somebody went down, like had a complete medical incident, and it was all dark and there was this horrible punk band playing and you couldn't hear anything. It was filthy. And I just remembered, it was like I just dropped to my knees and the muscle memory of what you learn in that class just kicked in, and I couldn't believe it. I was able to like get someone to get a blanket, have somebody get me the phone, and then talk to the London folks on the phone, which, boy, it takes a while to get EMT response from London. So you actually have to stay with them on the phone, and they'd ask me all these questions and I could answer because I had the cert training and stabilized this guy, and we're still friends to this day. So it like kind of locks into your body, and you find it's, even if you feel like you're feeling, Stephen, that it seems so implausible that one could, suddenly be of service. It just kind of does. And I think that's speaks a lot to the training itself, the way it's set up, the way
Right.
that it's, that you go through the whole online system and
Right.
then you're hands-on with other people learning, and the simulations are so
Right.
good. They really give you a clear understanding. So, yeah.
Yeah, and the online instructions, I mean, I went through what was it, 5 weeks of in-person lectures, and those are really, well, they're hard to get a hold of, but the online, because you can repeat them and they're much more streamlined of, yes, that it's from FEMA, it's from the University of Utah, but they're not, they want you to remember these points. These are the most important points. And we used to have, stories and anecdotes and everything in there, but this is what we need to remember. Some of us, for instance, I'm interested in psychological first aid. So that's what I focused on. And and all they said was to get enough sleep and eat a balanced meal. And and that was it. Which is why I went further into that. And fortunately, state of Oregon is now supporting psychological first aid with a real training program. So we can take advantage of that too. But yeah, the online program, just focus on what you're interested in. If it's triage, if it's first aid, if it's search and rescue, focus on that. And what we do at the review is you'll have a team of people. You're not alone in this. You'll have a team of people. You'll discuss what the appropriate action is. And working with your team is a huge part of what CERT does. So you will have built that, and you can do that then in your community. Much more effective program. And you'll always have the online course as a reference if you need it.
So, Stephen, you don't have to do the blood stuff. We'll handle that.
No
I'll
blood.
make sure
You
I'm
know-
never the first to arrive on scene.
There you go.
there is even it's an interesting evolution, but there is no mention in the world radio communications. There is no mention of someone who is deceased. There is no mention. There is what you do, but yeah, after that, or leave it for someone else to do that. But yeah, that is taken out of it, and you just move on to help the next person. So a lot of that, people were hesitant about doing search and rescue. What if I find somebody and I think they're deceased, but am I making that diagnosis or whatever? There is not that at all. So yeah. So
Amy,
it's
I'm sorry to interrupt.
no,
I'm
okay.
failing in our agenda timeline. Forgive me, folks. We just had such interesting conversation at the time. So,
Go ahead.
why don't we just do a quick round of introductions, and then we'll let Amy launch into her really interesting presentation tonight. So I'll go first. I'm Doriandra, Executive Director and lead of the Public Health and Safety Committee of the Whitaker Community Council. Stephen, would you introduce yourself?
Stephen Fuller-Rell, he, him, involved in all sorts of interesting stuff in the Whitaker.
Historian and yeah. Okay.
I'll pass to Julie.
So I'm Julie Bowman. I'm a resident and I own a business also in the Whitaker. And I serve on this committee. I am also operating an Arts in the Park grant for music and other activities in Scobert Gardens this summer. And my other projects with the Parks and Safety Committee are the Neighborhood Ready Map Your Neighborhood program, which I'm training under Megan Kemple and about to take over fully, and Adopt One Block, which I'm kind of spearheading a little bit, but we have some other interests, so more people are going to get drawn into that.
Mhm.
Thea, will you introduce yourself?
I'm Thea Lee, and all I can say is please wash your hands, wear a mask. My mom is really, really sick right now.
Oh, I'm so
Um,
sorry.
Yeah, no, it's been 9 days. I'm been the Parks and Safety Liaison since almost 2007, I want to say, for Wicker Community Council. So that means I talk to the parks people, park ambassadors, City of Eugene. Right now we're working with, I just had to reach out to Chief Skinner today. We have a camping group that is near one of our businesses and they have a scabies outbreak. And because of the temperatures dropping in the 20s, they're not willing to move any camps right now, but it was a nice day today. And not only did this camper continue to add to his camp, he has now started putting up trees and brush and all sorts of other things. And then 3 other campers joined him. And it's making it very unsafe for people to get in and out of this business. Saying, what are we going to do about this? I know you're under a no move, but this person has now been here for 2.5 weeks. They have scabies, and you guys keep passing around between the county and the city. So those are some of the fun things I do. And I'm a country girl, so I haven't had formal CERT training, but I can tell you I've done a lot of the things that you have to do because you were an hour and a half from the doctor.
Right.
So, and as I was listening to you speak, all I could think was WCC needs to have a general meeting with you.
Ah, with Amy, yes.
Yes.
Yes,
I was like, oh my word, she needs to come to a general meeting.
yes, that would be lovely. We're
Plan it in the future.
good. Well, thank you, Amy. Go ahead, take it away.
Okay. Yes, well, thank you for asking. This is a work in progress. I am interested in psychological first aid. I first became interested in it because I had read Bob Doppelt's Transformational Resilience, and he has been writing, he's an educational psychology professor at the university, and has been writing about climate change and trauma and how it affects our mental health, and how we need to prepare for the trauma, how we need to prepare for the anxiety. So anyway, and also he started a group called the Innovations Resources Group, and locally, which is terrific. The Resource Innovation Group. Okay. Anyway, it is a group that trains and uses psychological first aid. For example, the controlled breathing, the grounding that we are going to be doing tonight, as a basis for disaster response. And other groups internationally have been trained in this, and they do for about 20 years now. They will, volunteers will drop into countries that are facing devastation with one kind of disaster. For example, Haiti had an earthquake that was quite devastating, I think in 2012. But anyway, they had a team go in and say 3 weeks later, go in and canvass the communities in the towns and the people for psychological first aid and community mental health. That's what they did. So this process that he has developed works. It's a conglomeration, I guess, an aggregation of methods that work to relieve stress. And it is widely known as the mindfulness-based stress reduction. You can take classes in this. this is what this is based on. And this is what I'm advocating for our CERT members, our people who want to help the community, to keep this in your self-care toolkit. So, okay, so these are a couple of stress reduction tools. The first is grounding, and the second is controlled breathing. This is to, if you're anxious, or people even use it to get up in the morning before their first responders use it. Kindergartners use it in 4J. When I've heard they arrive for their class, and before they start their studies, the teacher directs them to do what they call square breathing, box breathing, or controlled breathing that we'll be trying tonight. And this relaxes them, it settles them down, that whatever trauma or whatever issue they have faced, for this 10 minutes of controlled breathing, it settles them down and prepares them for the day. So first responders use it, wildland firefighters use it. I've heard generally in the morning when they get up, they do the controlled breathing and they are set for the day. Okay. Okay, so the stress reduction tools. If you're anxious, use these tools to alleviate the anxiety so you may move forward. Okay, the first is grounding. So when you're grounding, get comfortable, concentrate on your body in your current surroundings. You may close your eyes or open them and focus them in one place. But find a comfortable position. You are present and you are safe. So number one, name 5 things you can see. Number 2, name 5 things you hear. Number 3, name 5 things you can touch. Number 4, name 5 things you can taste. Number 5, name 5 things you can smell. Okay. So grounding is usually used when you're especially anxious. Grounding is to bring you to the present environment and to be comfortable in it. It's sometimes when people wake up, they're kind of disoriented, and so grounding puts them in their bed, in their room, in their chair. So sometimes they use it before controlled breathing, sometimes not. Okay, let's try the controlled breathing. It seemed to have done something here. Okay. Okay, so the controlled breathing is the most important part of this toolkit. It is evidence-based. It's backed by neuroscience. A lot of research has gone into this, MRIs, how the emotions affect the brain, and this controlled breathing will help to lower your heart rate if you're upset or anxious. Okay. So concentrate on the count, which I will get through. Breathe through your nose. Inhale through your nose. Did I just do something? Okay. Can you hear me? Yeah? Okay, good. I just tapped something. Okay, sorry. Okay, so breathe through your nose. Inhale through your nose. This stimulates the parasympathetic nervous system, which will slow your heart rate because we will be counting slowly. It will slow your heart rate and allow you to be present, to focus, and to take a break for yourself. This is what makes it work. You can exhale through your mouth or your nose, but inhale is always through your nose. And the count is inhale, 2, 3, 4, hold your breath, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4. And then inhale, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so why don't we try it for a minute? And let me say, you can close your eyes and just listen, or you can look at something and focus, but concentrate on the count and the breathing. Okay, inhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, exhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, inhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, exhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So now you can get up and proceed with your day. Has anyone done this before? Ah, okay, yeah. Yeah, that was it's great. Okay. Everybody. Thank you.
Great at a stoplight. It's really good at a stoplight.
Yeah, it's I was surprised when I first did this for a CERT group that fully half of them had, but we had just come out of the pandemic, we had just come out of the wildfire, we had just a lot of trauma. So so it really helps ourselves and our kind of our my thought was that it would help wildland firefighters. They apparently you can imagine they go through months now of fire, and they go through months of, say, trauma, of destruction, and even injury and death of their coworkers. The reason why I started pursuing this a lot is after, I think it was the year after the Biscuit Fire, which went on for months in Southern Oregon. The wildland firefighters returned home and they recovered, and we knew another severe drought was coming up, and the forecast was for another summer of wildfire, and that was really terrible to face and traumatic to face. And in the late winter, two wildland firefighters in Springfield committed suicide. The question was, or they were certainly suffering from PTSD. They could not go back into that work again, but they also could not refuse to go back. That was the dilemma that they could not work through. So working with this psychological first aid, the controlled breathing, there is also that the realization or the recommendation that if you are not recovering from the trauma, if you are still having symptoms after a month, please seek counseling, professional counseling. And we have two excellent agencies that deal with trauma. And the first is the Center for Community Counseling on Coburg Road. And the other is the Trauma Healing Project. Definitely trauma-informed counseling and therapy. So that is our recommendation, we don't expect that mindfulness is going to cure everything, but please get help in counseling. Even if you never go back to doing what you were doing, then get, for your well-being, get counseling. Okay, so I'll briefly talk about disaster response. And it is what we are learning. The Oregon Department of Human Services and Oregon Health Authority have been working for 2 years on establishing a field operations manual that is going to be available. We did a beta training and on this, and what they are doing also, which is really, really important, is how do we respond to culturally distinctive populations or community groups. For example, the African American. How do we respond to Middle Eastern communities that have specific needs? So that's going to be guidance also included in this field operations manual. Typically, what it is that if you are approaching like you did, where somebody has collapsed or suffered from trauma, you do it quietly, calmly. Do not touch them, but go down to their level and ask if you can get them anything, if you can get them some water. Definitely do not ask what happened, but make them comfortable, make them feel safe. Say you are going to get help for them, but is there some water I can bring you? What do you need from me. And then sit back and listen. They may not be able to respond, but just sit with them. And then if there are other needs, other people that need help, then tell them, I will be right back. I will be back to talk with you, but I'll go and help other people. But just be that voice of calm. And if they need information, share that. There will be others around you. So you'll have some team and information that you can help with. But that's the best you can do, is to provide support and hope that, yes, we are getting people in here to help you. Okay. But yeah, it's I'm learning much more about this too. There is a lot of information available. And so I'm glad that you're interested in this. And what I would ideally love to do, if you are interested in psychological first aid and disaster response, I would love to build, we have water distribution teams. I would love to build a psychological first aid team in CERT or the neighborhood associations, wherever we can come together. So thank you.
Thank you, Amy. Yeah, it brings to mind the Zendo project, which is an interesting group of people that co-locate their services at huge
This meeting is being recorded.
music events like Burning Man and stuff like that. And it's an amazing group of people that come together that kind of triage different crises, and it can run the entire gamut from, you know, death to violence to psychological breakdown, but they're so acutely attuned and they work in it. So I love your idea, and I would love to be part of that with you. It's really neat.
Great.
I think Stephen had a question earlier. What was that?
Just wanted to add that I am active with 350 PDX, 350.org PDX, and with the Forest Defense Team. It's quite an age range, but quite a number of younger people. And we are at risk of climate trauma with the intensity of some of the things that we work on. And at the end of each of our meetings, one of the members of the group leads us in a mindfulness exercise so that we can re-enter the rest of the world from our activist work somewhat protected from climate trauma. Or he will read us a Mary Oliver poem or something like that. But he does some kind of exercise, often a breathing exercise. And I'm very grateful for that.
Mm-hmm.
We also found that in our health and safety committee, when we were dealing with housing assistance, we found that we were experiencing vicarious trauma from those of us in our group here in the Whitaker who were dealing directly with potentially unhoused families. And so we did a paper on all the levels of trauma in our neighborhood, the unhoused trauma, the Black generational trauma, the Native American or the indigenous generational trauma. And it was quite instructive to realize how we are in a maelstrom of trauma. Most places are these days, but very, very instructive. So thank you for continuing that thread for us.
And Amy, will you speak real quickly to the oh, let me get this one muted, maybe. Getting some feedback. I would you speak to that great practice in CERT that's so interesting to help people de-escalate after really being in a intense situation, how you move people, if you're a CERT leader in an incident, how you need to move them to an easier task rather than just letting them go from a situation. Would you talk about that real briefly?
Well, yeah, it's part of the leadership of the and we're training, of course, with this. And that is in any incident is to realize that the capabilities of your team and the abilities of your team. And so, yeah, so you take care of each of their needs. And after the incident, take time to, if it's completely over, then you take time to talk about what was done well, what we need to improve on. And it's called a hot wash or a debriefing. And I like Stephen's idea of an actual exercise to get there. But also if it's an ongoing where teams are or team members are needed elsewhere, then you come from a very say intense critical situation. You can put them off to a less intense, maybe somewhat quiet, not involve survivors or yeah. So there is to do that for a while, but not just send them home to debrief on their own and to kind of ease their way and to have that support that I'm part of the team and it goes on. So definitely. And then now there used to be something after the exercise, like a kind of a hot wash, maybe 3 or 4 days later, but there's also now we can meet 3 or 4 days later or a week later, but talk about debriefing, talk about taking care and scoping out the condition of people. If someone's having difficulty, actively recommend, so somebody have an idea, somebody have a recommendation of what we can do here. And somebody will say, hey, I go to Trauma Healing Project and I just drop in. They have different modalities. There's movement therapy, there's talk therapy, there may be music, that whatever you find comfort in, you can drop in and take advantage of that group. So people can recommend what works for them, but to keep track, long-term track of your team. Yeah.
Thank you, Amy. Yeah, I was really struck with that. I was like, wow, after a heavy incident or something that it's just so kind of trauma inducing, I value that so much in CERT that whoever's incident command or CERT leader at that moment would have the forethought to say, okay, now Doriandra, go ahead on over here and let's just count the water bottles and let's just gently pass these out and kind of like let your own trauma have a moment to reside before you just go home.
Right. Yeah. To feel meaningful. Yeah.
Yeah. It's really, really well thought out. So
yeah. And I will say that that whole thing about support for the CERT team is very much a part of our executive officer, Jim Bell.
yes.
Jim Bell
Exceptional man.
yeah, he's a paramedic. He's an RN, and has trained in emergency management. He has been the emergency manager for the city of Coburg, and And so he's working with them to have their own water distribution system also. So we're supporting each other, but he definitely is careful about the care of our CERT team, as are our emergency managers. In the ice storm, we heard that we were asked in Springfield, we were asked by the utility company to say, hey, why don't we get, we're shorthanded here and so much damage, and can we get some certs to do this? And Ken says, no, it's dangerous for you to do it. I'm not sending my team in there, not volunteers. No, that's not in the scope of their work. So I'm not doing that. In fact, we're dealing with this ice storm. We need people at Egan warming centers, but I'm calling them out. Do it safely, only if you can do it safely. So, yeah, that's our first concern.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. And our next part of our agenda this evening was to discuss our next disaster resiliency event, which is scheduled tentatively for May 11th in Washington Jefferson Park. And I know, Julie, thank you so much for putting in that request. Hopefully we'll get that space again. But Amy, we'd love to have you join us again, or join us there if you'd like.
Sure.
We did a really neat kind of learning symposium where we had different speakers come and educate about different topics. And so we'd love to add you to that roster if you are.
Right.
I'll send you more information as we go.
Sure.
You're welcome to stay with us. We're going to spend the last 15 minutes just kind of chatting about that event. And I don't know what your timing is, but we have some.
I think I'll go.
Okay.
I am doing representing CERT tomorrow at the Full Access Prepare-a-Palooza,
Yes.
which I love. My agenda for CERT, for Eugene Springfield CERT, is to go out and meet the communities of color, to go out. And so I did the Black Cultural Arts, or the Black Arts Festival last year. I did the Pride Festival because I have many friends, and I want them to know that they have access to CERT and what we do. And I also have friends who have autistic children, developmentally challenged. We have in our Japanese American, Asian American community. So I want to, and we have, I have friends who are parents who raised and wrote books about raising children, autistic children. So I have some knowledge, and so I want to get in there and make it accessible to them and their caregivers or whatever. So
Great.
we're going in there.
Good. What time is your presentation tomorrow?
I'm not, unfortunately, I'm not doing a presentation.
You'll just be there.
I'm just there with materials,
Right.
and some Spanish language materials also. She, what was her name? Maggie asked me if I wanted to do a presentation, and however, she said, oh my goodness, Lane County Public Health wants to do 2 presentations for them.
Right.
So I thought, oh my goodness, that's really valuable. All I do is neighbor to neighbor stuff. So they've got Lane County Public Health. They probably have American Red Cross.
Yeah.
And so the big guys. So so I'm so glad to be a part of it, to see.
Excellent. And I'll look forward to seeing you tomorrow. I want to
Okay.
support that event. It's really good. So.
Good.
All right.
Thank
Well,
you.
thank you
Okay,
so
well, I'll
much.
say good night.
Okay. Good night, Amy. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Okay, folks, let's jump into our planning. let's see, Jen Shack sent this adorable idea for our event. I just put I put the link in the chat there. It's this really fun food preparation competition, which I think we should emulate at the next event. It's where you just take shelf stable items and create like somewhat of a nice gourmet meal. They just did it out on the coast, and I just think that would be epic because we could get folks to sign up, and I'm sure that we could use some of our grant money to just buy, packets of mayonnaise, cans of oysters. Does that sound fun to you all? Okay. Yeah, it just sounds ridiculously fun. We can get a big table going, and the idea is that there's no cooking allowed because we won't have power. So it's just taking all this random stuff, and then we can have it kind of a competition, and then whoever creates the best meal would, win some ridiculous prize. Maybe they can take home all the shelf stable ingredients we get or something. So we'll need judges and so anyway, if everyone's okay with that, I'm just thrilled about that. Stephen, do you like that idea? Thea and Stephen? Oh, you're muted, dear.
Sorry, my camera doesn't.
I just posted that sounds
Oh.
excellent, tasty.
There you go.
Thinking it's going to be fun trying to accommodate the people with major food restrictions.
Well,
Having the vegan option and the Atkins option, and it's going to be fun. Yeah,
that would make it even more challenging, like extra prizes if you can make something vegan out of like packets of
oysters.
yeah, oysters, right? Thea, are you okay with that idea?
Oh, absolutely. I grew up an hour and a half from a grocery store, so we often had very creative meals from the pantry. I still do to this day.
Yeah,
But I
me
was
too.
thinking Friends might be willing to donate some canned goods.
Excellent. There we go. Good. That's a great idea. That would be really fun. Oh, let's see, Julie coming in with sensible sting here. No, we can't give away food, but we would just have specific judges. So it's not like, a contestant is going to give it away. It's just going to be, yeah, like we'll just pick a couple of judges. Margaret would be a hilarious judge because she's such a foodie. So,
She would be good. We could also see if we give a food card, like a grocery store card.
yep. To the winners.
To the
Yeah,
winner.
exactly. Right. Well, we'll have those on hand anyway. I am going to buy some new gift cards with our grant money from the new hardware store in town so that folks can get things, besides food. Okay, let's see. Joanna's saying gluten-free options would be nice. Absolutely. We will raise the bar and make the competition really hard to address those food specificities that Stephen mentioned.
I volunteered to be a judge.
Oh, perfect. Okay, we got two judges. I'm sure Margaret will say yes.
So you will need, if you're going to heat anything, you will need a little,
no
no
cooking.
heating at all.
Nope.
This is totally cold.
We're imagining complete disaster. Yep.
Okay, so no propane stoves. Okay.
I mean, we could, Jeff Holloman is interested in doing a teaching thing about a rocket stove, how to build a quick rocket stove. So we could kind of blend that into it because heated food is so much better. But let's think about it because, I think if we think about people with, in a basic crisis, it's just going to be really difficult to try to whip together a rocket stove unless
Is anybody doing solar reflector ovens in the area?
Not
They're
yet.
They're those parabolic mirrors that you put your food at the focal point of the parabola, and you can then cook in the sun. We used to sell them at Real Goods when I worked there.
Yeah, that should be a top. Maybe you and Jeff could get together and do
Yeah.
yeah, you guys could do a presentation on how to whip together a I don't know, borrow your neighbor's satellite dish and make a public stove or something. So, okay, good. Let's see. Oh gosh, we really went over time tonight. Okay, the other good fun thing is I talked to the folks at Friends of Trees, and they've been in the past a great connection for Whitaker Community Council. They came to one of our general meetings, but I talked to their program manager the other day about them coming too, because they have so much solid education about tree planting and thinking about trees in terms of protecting your property from flooding, fire resistance. So they're super excited, and they'll join us as a new partner for this event. So we're expanding our partnerships. Got a really fun event to do. So let's just keep thinking. And Julie, thank you so much for getting that permit rolling, or the question. So
Yeah, so I heard back from Marcel this
Oh,
afternoon.
good.
He's the gentleman at the River House who handles the permitting for Washington Jefferson.
Huh?
He seemed to think this was a disaster relief event, which made me go back and look at my application and make sure that I hadn't had like autocorrect kind of issues.
Mhm.
And unless somebody from the WCC has applied for a disaster relief event, which I don't think so, I responded to him and clarified the difference between relief and resiliency,
Mhm.
and thanked him for his help. And he said he should have some answers for us as soon as tomorrow, but definitely this week, regarding anything that we might need to provide. I think we had to provide some insurance information last time. So
Okay.
it sounds like we're on track for that.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Are they waiving fees?
Cindy Kohler's advice was to make sure that I included the information that we were the WCC and a 501 whatever nonprofit. And I said that the only fees I wanted to pay were the deposits for the keys and the water and electricity. And if he gives me flack with that, then I'll go back to Cindy, because she's the one who solved that for us last time. But I think she taught me how to get out in front of that issue. So I expect the fees to be waived.
Okay. Wonderful. It's going to be fun, and I'm so glad we have some more time to get ready. Like last time, we just pulled that rabbit out of our hat pretty quickly. So,
Yeah, once we have the permit in hand, we can start properly promoting and have a little time.
yeah, exactly.
Uh,
Do you think
I think
Boxcar?
Oh, I bet they will. I'll reach out to him. He was fantastic. I will man the neighborhood ready, map your neighborhood table.
Okay.
It sounds like we have CERT. It sounds like we have the cooking. We've got a good start.
Yeah, we'll have shift community cycles again, and then we'll have Cascadia Mobility, eWeb, and then City of Eugene Emergency Management and CERT again. And we can add Amy as one of our guest speakers. So yeah, it's going to be great, folks. Wow. Good stuff. Okay.
Julie, would adopt a block, I know it's not part of disaster resiliency, but it does teach you to get to know your neighbors. Would they be willing to come to an event like this?
My
Would it be
contact is
appropriate?
the contact that responded to me from Adopt One Block went on paternity leave for February, so I could reach out to him again. The person he passed me off to has been no contact crickets. So
Okay.
I don't, maybe that person has too much on their plate already, but perhaps I can come back to the original guy who's maybe back from paternity leave now and ask. It'd be fantastic if we could.
I would really like to approach our businesses. I'm kind of working on a letter to send to you to get our businesses to have pay their employees to adopt a block somewhere they already clean up in front of their safe, but to get more people on the map.
Yeah.
So that we can really get this thing going in the Whitaker itself.
Excellent.
And I think we can get the businesses to do that.
Excellent. Folks, I have one more quick announcement and then I'll let everyone go. Thea, I finished the AARP Community Challenge grant, got that off in the ether. So everyone keep your fingers crossed. That would be really neat. That's that digital connectivity enhancement grant. It was for almost $50,000 and we could mobilize certain business points or people in the Whitaker that would act as satellite internet hubs. So we'd set up whole bunch of Starlink in the Whitaker to stay connected, and then also purchase 100 of these medtech like alternative car, they're cell phone chargers to keep phones working. So let's keep all body parts crossed, because that would be a really great project from June through December of this year, and we could totally feed it into another disaster resiliency event in September. So all right. Thank you all. It's so nice to see you, and I appreciate all of you. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
Thank you, Doriandra. Great to see everybody.
You too. Have a good night, all.